Thanks for joining me, everyone. I'd like to share a game with you I had in the Belfast. And at the end of the video, I will go ahead and share my ship setup as well as my commander setup. Now, I am running AL Belfast, so if you don't have that, I will share an alternate build for you. So if you're lucky enough to pull this thing out of a crate this year, this is what you have to look forward to. And anybody who has already had it, you know, this is a fun ship. I am just really getting into cruisers now. Been playing destroyers and battleships as my main class ships since 2019, and I wanted to start challenging myself. And you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. I'm getting tired of getting burned down by cruisers, so I decided I'm gonna start jumping in them and giving it a go. So mine is gonna be more speed and agility, so you'll see in my setup it's probably gonna be a little bit different than somebody who is predominantly gonna spend their time, you know, behind an island spamming HE at whatever's just within range. I'm looking for something to get around the map a little bit more quickly. But as you can see, man, I switched to AP, and this thing smack. The British AP against cruisers is fantastic. So, I mean, if you see a broadside cruiser, man, switch it and just go ahead and punish them. Good job to my destroyer. I mean, he stayed out on the other side of that island and he kept them spotted, man. Thanks, good job. I went ahead and sped it up just to kind of get past this little spam part and get back over to where I'm going to actually want to control this cap. Like, you'll see, I literally was like, no, this is my cap. Nobody's taking my cap. So one reason why I wanted to try this is because I myself find myself complaining about cruiser captains who don't push the cap. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it. But I just got so lucky on matchmaking. I got this DD and he popped the smoke. He did it in a perfect way, positioned closer to the island just to make sure no torpedoes hit, and I'm in a perfect position. I haven't even used my smoke yet, so I'm just gonna start spamming HE, right? I mean, that's what cruisers do. We're gonna spam HE and we're gonna burn this battleship down. Boy, I tell you, it really is. This is fun to ship, and I haven't even, you know, used any consumables yet. So here he starts pushing. I'm like, uh-oh, if he decides to really push, you know, he could come into the smoke and just wreck my day. So I'm just going to go ahead and focus on him. Not much for me really else to shoot at anyways. You know, my team, for whatever reason, is just continuously pushing right into 2 battleships and a cruiser. But you know what? It works out because he tied all those guys up and they didn't push the cap, so that just gave me the ability to really deal with this battleship and trying to get this cap. Our DD, he did another great job, man. He went ahead and launched some torpedoes, and that's something I even mentioned, you know, about using a DD for torpedo area denial. I mean, this is good job, dude. He's on point, and I'm just gonna keep firing. The only thing it would have been nice is if, you know, the reload was a little bit better, and you can, you know, tweak your builds to where if you want to go a full, you know, gun build, you can definitely make this thing lethal. But again, I'll show you, I'm more, you know, speed and agility. So I'm just gonna keep pummeling them, and then I notice, uh-oh, smoke's running out, time to get my booty going. Luckily, he's at the end, and back to port, buddy. So I come out and I'm like, I got a smoke. Haven't even used it. Time to pop it. So this is really an example. If you can get this thing in a division, man, and you piggyback off a smoke like that, let me tell you, this ship is ridiculous. It's just, man. Now, I can tell you this. If you notice when I'm firing on the mini-map, my detection circle keeps going in and out. Now, this is one of the base perks for Belfast, where that detection circle is a lot smaller. So I'll show you in an alternate build, you're going to have to be careful because that detection circle is a lot bigger. Well, maybe not a lot. That's probably an exaggeration, but it is definitely bigger. So making sure you position yourself when you do jump in smoke. And if you're firing and you're still detected, that's because obviously they're within that detection circle. So just a little helpful hint. But I'm like, man, come on. Get me a fire. Get me a fire. Keep firing. And this is kind of what I mean by speed and agility, man. I mean, if you set it up just as guns, and again, this is just personal reference. If you set it up solely just guns, I found that it's a bit sluggish. Like the turning really isn't there, the speed isn't there, and man, when I had it like that, I was getting my butt handed to me by battleships. I just wasn't getting out of the way of their shells. So here I'm like, yes, burn, baby, burn. Now, on the opposite end, when I'm playing Battleship, I am continuously cursing cruiser captains for this. But me, I'm like, yes, burn, baby, and I got the kill. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and push our DD captain. He did a great job. He got himself killed. You know, it is what it is. But he did a great job, though, all in all. Good job, buddy. So here, I'm like, again, this is my cap. Nobody's taking my cap, right? So here's what I mean by the detection circle. And obviously, I'm pushing a little bit too hard. You know, I'm thinking he's going to just keep backing up, so I wanted to get around, but he's like, no, I'm going to go ahead and push him. He's in a cruiser. So he decides to start pushing. And I pop smoke. And guess what? He's in my detection circle. So I'm like, ah, crap. I don't have torpedoes. And I'm trying to shoot HE, and I mean, and this is a good example. You see that 11 breaks. This really is more like it needs that plunging fire. And I'm not aiming, you know, maybe high enough. So I'm like, you know what? I do have a torpedo. Full steam ahead, man. I am going to use my ship as a torpedo. And how many times have you been in this situation where you got 4 kills and you're like, I'm not going to get the Kraken? Well, that's not going to happen this time, because I'm going to get that Kraken, daggone it. And guess what? Back to port we both go. So that was awesome. Let's go ahead and get into the shipping commander setup, which I know that's what you guys are definitely wanting to see. I went ahead and took the AL camo off, so that way you can see what it looks like if you're lucky enough to snag it out of a crate. And as you can see, it really is a great looking ship, especially with the current background, suits it. On a side note, I can't wait till we can actually change the background as we see fit, you know, outside of events. So please take into consideration, this is my play style, and it suits, again, a more kiting, speed, agility play style. I did have it set up where it was guns and concealment, and trying to really hop islands and things along that nature, it just felt a little too slow. It just didn't suit me. So upgrades, I went aiming system, so that way I could get the dispersion. I went steering gears 2 for the rudder shift, steering gears 3 for more rudder shift. And again, there is nothing wrong if you want to go concealment system, if you would prefer a little bit more of a buffer zone between getting spotted. If you're lucky enough to have AL Belfast, this is what I meant by the ship's detectability while firing within your smoke. Is her base trait, and that makes it to where that circle was a lot smaller than if you're going to use the alternate commander. So again, range, more speed and rudder shift, punch through, fixated, and refill station. Inspiration, I went von Mueller so I could get more speed, and I wanted some extra shell grouping, so that's why I went Scott. If you want to run a stock commander, assuming you don't have Belfast, I would go Fraser. Obviously still set up for the ship, but I would definitely not have to worry about putting von Mueller because his base trait is speed. I went range, igniter, more speed, fixated, and this is where I meant where you could pick up more consumables by going fully packed instead of refill, which is going to give you 3 smoke, 3 radar, and 3 sonar. And the guns, I would definitely go Madden. The extra traverse speed and reload would definitely benefit Belfast. and more shell grouping, of course. So that is my ship and commander setup for Belfast. I hope that helps. Please don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, stay frosty out there.